Hey, homegirl, welcome to the Girl Just Heal podcast, where together we learn how to navigate our healing journeys in a way that challenges us to destroy limits and break down walls that have been keeping us subject to our trauma. I am your host, your favorite homegirl, Neimoya Basden. And just like you, I am on this healing journey, navigating the ups and downs of this thing called life, while simultaneously allowing God to usher me right into the place where He wants me to be. So get comfy, grab your journal, and let's talk about all the ways we can heal, grow, and evolve together. Hey, homegirls, welcome to the Girl Just Heal podcast. I'm your favorite homegirl, Neimoya Basden, and child, listen. So how are you doing? I pray that you are doing well. Pray that you are healing well, feeling well, all of those good things. So we're going to go ahead and slide into this episode. So I'm going to first just start off by reminding y'all, continue to go to girljustheal.com, get your prayer cards, get your homegirl merch. And I do want to make sure y'all get y'all She Is Healing journal. And the reason why I'm going to put an emphasis on this is because we are about to start a prayer series on the Girl Just Heal podcast. And when I tell you, you're going to have to take notes. The homegirl's been asking, and baby, it is coming in. We dropping it like it's hot. So if you haven't gotten your She Is Healing journal, you have time. Go grab your journal because, baby, you are going to need it for this series. When I say this series is locked and loaded, my God, I mean just that. So I know it's going to be very beneficial. I want you to have something where you can record notes and just write down the important things that are going to come out of these episodes. So if you don't have your journal, go to girljustheal.com, get your She Is Healing journal. And also, the Girl Just Heal conference is coming up in September. So if you don't have your ticket, make sure you go to girljusthealconference.com, grab your tickets, and I cannot wait to meet you in the room in September. So now we are going to shout out a homegirl. And this is not a review. This is a comment that was left on one of the episodes through Spotify. If you didn't know, Spotify does have a comments feature, and I do get to glance at these comments. So go ahead and leave a comment. I try to respond back, or I try to react to the comment just to let you know that I see you, I love you, I appreciate you. Thank you for being here. So this comment says, just found your podcast and I love it. The way you read Bible passages and use your own story. The song in the beginning, and my favorite is the mantra that lifts me up. So thank you so much for leaving this comment on the episode. I didn't even see what episode. Okay, so the episode that this comment was left on is When the Promise Doesn't Look Like You Thought It Would. So thank you so much for leaving this comment. I truly appreciate you for being here. Welcome to the family, and I look forward to continuing to heal, grow, and evolve together. So y'all already know what time it is now, baby. It is time for the most favorite part of the episode. It is time for what? It's time for the prayer cards. Prayer cards. It is time for the prayer cards. Prayer cards. Eight. Prayer cards. Prayer cards. Eight. It's time for the prayer cards, y'all. I don't think I'll ever get tired of singing that prayer card song. I don't think I'll ever get tired of it. But it is time for the prayer cards. So we're going to see. Let's see what word we are getting today. All right, and today's scripture comes from 1 John chapter 4, verse 11, and it says, "Dear friends, since God loved us this much, we should also love one another." Yeah, it's very simple, very self-explanatory. Again, dear friends, since God loved us this much, we should also love one another. And that's it. That's it for the scripture. Make sure y'all bookmark it. 1 John chapter 4, verse 11. And just go back and read about what's happening in this story. Y'all know I love for y'all to get the context, which is why I tell y'all go back and read the scriptures before, the scriptures after, just so you can have your own understanding of what is happening in this scripture. So now we are about to get into the episode. And for this episode, y'all, we have circled back to this devotional that I got, the 90-day devotional, Managing Your Emotions by Joyce Meyer. We have circled back to this. If you are catching the visuals on YouTube, I got it up so you can screenshot it, whatever you need to do so you can go find it. I think this is one I got from Walmart. And this is Daily Wisdom for Remaining Stable in an Unstable World. And so I've been reading, I got a couple bookmarks in here, but sometimes for these devotionals, I don't go in chronological order. And so today I was just reading it because I'm like, I just wanted to revisit this devotional. I haven't picked it up in a little minute. And so this one stood out to me and I was like, oh my goodness, I have to go and do an episode on it because it just touched me in just a wonderful way. And it's also a wonderful segment into the prayer series that we are about to start on the podcast. When I tell y'all, God has really, really been just revealing things. Like, I'm going to get into that in these next episodes, in the episodes throughout the prayer series. I don't even know how many episodes it's going to be for that prayer series. I'm going to give y'all more information. I'm going to give y'all more information. Okay. Just listen. When I tell you, get ready. But when I was reading this devotional, this was the perfect segue into that. Now, the title of this devotion is Know When to Keep Things to Yourself. I'm just let that sink in for a second. Know when to keep things to yourself. And the scripture they gave us is Luke chapter 2, verse 19. And it says, but Mary treasured up all these things and pondered them in her heart. And so we're going to go ahead and get into the devotional piece. And so it starts and says, Mary was an ordinary girl who loved God when an angel of the Lord appeared and told her she would become the mother of the Son of God. Can you imagine everything she went through from the time the angel appeared to her until after the birth of Christ? I'm sure she felt a range of intense emotions. Today's scripture appears near the end of Luke's account of Jesus' birth, after he was born, after the angel appeared in the sky, and after the shepherds visited him. After all of this, what did Mary do? She still didn't talk about it. She pondered it in her heart. And I want to park it right here. My God. It says, what did Mary do? She still didn't talk about it. If we think back to the story of Mary, and if you've been in church any amount of time, then you know Mary was the one who God chose to give birth to Jesus. And so just imagine, like this devotion even said, imagine the emotions and the things that Mary felt when the angel came to her and like, yeah, I know you're a virgin, but like you finna give birth to a child. I'm sure so many things was going through her head, and you can even put yourself into those shoes right now and just imagine like if somebody came to you and like, oh yeah, you're about to have a child, but you like, I ain't even done the things that we're supposed to do to have a child. So how is this possible? You're going to start feeling a variety of emotions, just so intense, just like so many questions, so many thoughts. Mary felt all of this. I can imagine she felt all of this, but she didn't say a word about it. She ain't go to mom and them and talk about it. She didn't go to her best friends and talk about it. She didn't go to the people at the church and talk about it. She kept it to herself and pondered on it in her heart. So every thought that she had, she thought about it and dealt with it internally. She didn't go and tell nobody about it. And sometimes we are talking so much about things that we are dealing with, or if God has called us to do certain things, if God has told you that he wanted you to be active in a certain department, or he wanted you to do something, sometimes the first thing we do is go out and tell other people what God told us in private, and we're not supposed to be doing that. Some of the instructions, some of the things that God gives to us, and God, or he allow other people to give us a word. In this case, an angel appeared unto Mary. Sometimes when God gives us a word and he allows words to come to us and to tell us who we gonna become, what are we going to do, and all these things like that, it's not meant for you to go out and you to tell everybody about it. I know you're frustrated sometimes. I know that it might be heavy a little bit. I know that so many emotions and thoughts come up for you and you feel like, I just got to get it out and tell somebody. But sometimes you don't need to go and tell anybody. God is wanting you to keep quiet about what it is that he is doing in your life, and in due time, People are going to see it. In due time, it'll come out. But sometimes during the process of things and things can get a little messed up during that process, or we can be delayed even sometimes in that process because we are going out and we are prematurely talking about things that for a season God wanted to keep quiet. It's some seasons in your life you go through when God is putting on your heart to do anything or you're having an encounter with him. Some of these seasons, he's meaning for it to be a silent season, meaning that you don't go out and tell nobody about this. You keep it to yourself. You deal with all the emotions that's coming up for this season of your life. You're dealing with that with just him in private, just you and your heavenly Father. And you are dealing with that stuff internally. It doesn't mean that you always have to go out and tell people about what thus said the Lord to you concerning you, about the next thing that you are about to do, about how the Lord just blessed you. Like sometimes we have to keep our mouths shut. So let's continue because this really, I love this devotion. All right. So it goes on to say, sometimes the best way to manage our emotions is to be careful about what we say and to whom we say it. Jesus. Sometimes the best way to manage our emotions is to be careful about what we say and to whom we say it. Meaning you can't go and tell everybody everything about what you are feeling, what you are dealing with, what is going on with you, what God has said to you, the place that God is taking you. You can't share that with everybody. And sometimes we learn the hard way because we go out and we share certain things with people that we should have kept to ourselves, and then we are upset and we are frustrated and we are a little confused because the person we shared it with, they don't receive it well, and now it causes us to question what God has told us, when in reality all he wanted us to do was just hold the word that he had given us to ourselves for just a little bit. He wanted us to hold that word inside for just a little bit, meaning I don't want you to go out and tell nobody about what I am doing through your life at this present moment. Just let it be me and you for a season. This is what God is saying to you. Listen, God is saying, let it be me and you for just a season. It's okay if it's only you and me. It's okay if nobody else around you knows what's going on. It's okay if nobody else around you has evidence that I'm moving in your life. That's okay, because in due time, they are going to see just how much I'm moving in your life. They are going to see just the things that I am doing concerning you. You don't have to go tell them the moment I release the word to you. God is saying, keep that word to yourself, because I need you to work that word. I need you to do the things you're supposed to do in this process after I release a word. But sometimes we get a word released from God, and then we go out and we tell people about it, and then we wonder why that word is taking so long to come to pass, because you went and opened your mouth about something that God wanted you to keep private. Whew. You can't share everything with everybody. You can't tell everybody everything. Your most vulnerable parts about you, you can't share that with everybody. You got to know who you can talk to, when you can talk to them, and what all you need to be talking to them about. It's different people in your life for different reasons. Sometimes something's going to happen in your life, or you're going to get a word or something like that, and God is instructing you not to say nothing to nobody. You wonder why every time you talk to somebody, you try to get it out, but it's never a space for you to get that out. It's like, man, I tried so hard to tell this person that. The next time you encounter something like that in your life, where you are trying to tell somebody something, but it's just like at no points in the conversation you can tell this to them, just sit and think to yourself and start praying. Just say in your mind, God, is this really something you want me to release right now? Because I think a lot of times we don't know when to release and when to just keep to ourselves. Like, we want to release everything, and everything is not meant to be released. Listen to me. Everything is not meant to be released, and we have to understand that and know. And the only way that we can understand that and know is to pray to God and just be like, God, am I supposed to release this? God, if I'm supposed to release this, make a path clear so that I can release this. And if a path never comes up for you to release it, then that means it's supposed to stay between you and God right now. You're not supposed to go out and talk about it right now. And that's fine. Keep that private. Keep that between you and God so that you can do the things that are necessary for that word to come to pass. All right, let's keep going. It says we can often stay calm about a situation if we keep it between ourselves and God. But if we tell certain people, they may be negative about it, and then we become negative. Listen, I want y'all to listen to this. We may not be afraid of something, but when we talk about it, someone says something that suddenly causes us to fear. My God, we may not be angry about a situation, but when we share it with someone, they convince us that we should be angry too. Oh my goodness. Like, let me just pause for the cause. My God, because this is so true. We have so many situations. And I know for me personally, I have literally dealt with it. This is, when I say this is 100% true, what Joyce is saying in this devotion, baby, I can say it because I've dealt with it. I've dealt with situations where to me, I just let it roll off my back. And I was just like, oh, it don't really mean nothing. But then I get to talking with a friend about this situation. And because to my friend, they were offended about what happened. Now I start getting offended. Now my viewpoint changes when before I even talked to my friend about this situation, I was A-okay. I was cool. I was sleeping at night. I ain't even give it a second thought. I was just like, it happened, whatever. I don't even care. But the moment I brought it up, because sometimes other people can feel emotions, and it's all a part of being human. Okay, this is why you have to know when to say stuff and when to not say stuff, is because sometimes if you go to a friend, like sometimes it's going to hit them differently than it hits you. It's like I hear a lot of people always talk about how, you know, when you're in a romantic relationship, like you really shouldn't be telling your friends and your family everything that goes on with you and your romantic partner, because if it ever comes a chance where like y'all in a fight and then you decide to forgive your partner, your spouse, okay? And then because you forgive your spouse, that don't mean that your friend forgive your spouse. And everything would have been okay if you wouldn't have said anything. Sometimes we say things prematurely and we shouldn't. Sometimes we need to hold things in to ourselves and not say anything, because we can start feeling a total different way than we initially felt when we see that somebody in our lives are taking offense to something, or maybe they don't agree with something, or maybe they get mad about a situation and they're trying to figure out why we're not mad about it. So let's just finish this. She goes on to say, we may feel encouraged about a situation, but after hearing other people's response to it, we become discouraged. Baby, listen to me. I'm going to read this one again. We may feel encouraged about a situation, but after hearing other people's response to it, we become discouraged. The first thing that came to my mind was how we can dream so big. We can dream so big. We can say, you know what? I want to start this business. I want to do this podcast. I want to be, you know, the CEO of the company that I'm working with. Like, I have all these dreams, goals, and aspirations. And you are so encouraged by this, so encouraged by it. But sometimes what will happen is other people will start to say things like, you sure you want to do that? You sure you got what it takes to do that? This can now like really crush your dreams. That's why people say all the time, you don't need to be telling your dreams to small-minded people. And not just to say that you are above anybody intellectually, but it is just to say that sometimes people cannot handle the level of dreaming that you are doing. I will use me for an example. I'm from a very small town where, baby, everybody know everybody. So if somebody say they are from Cairo, Illinois, we looking at you like, who? We ain't never seen you. We ain't never heard your name. Who your people? Where you come from? How long you been here? Like, this is how small my hometown is. And I just say that to say that a lot of the times when you are dreaming big and beyond a small place, like you grew up where it's really not, you don't have anything like all of the other people have in neighboring cities and bigger cities and things like that. Like, you make do with what you have. But sometimes people can look at you, they can look at where you from, they can look at your background, and they will tell things like, ain't no way you gonna ever be able to make it, and you from that small town. Ain't no way you gonna ever be able to do something to the magnitude that you are dreaming about doing it, and you are from somewhere where the population is so small that everybody knows everybody. This is why you have to be careful what you release out of your mouth prematurely, and be careful what dreams and goals and aspirations you share with other people. I am all about just stepping out on faith and doing things. You don't necessarily have to tell everybody what you are dreaming about doing, because some people cannot handle your dream. Sometimes your dream is too big for other people. Why you think God gave it to you? God didn't make a mistake when he gave you that dream, sweetie. God did not make a mistake when he put that passion in your heart. He did not make a mistake. He did not have to second guess when he said, okay, I'm going to give her this desire to do this specific thing. He didn't make a mistake. And so I want to just encourage you, whatever dream you have, whatever goal you have, whatever aspiration that you got, go forward full force. It doesn't matter what other people think about it. It doesn't matter if people think you're not capable. It doesn't matter if they think you're not qualified. It doesn't matter if they think you'll never be able to get the job done. Don't you let down your encouragement. Don't you let down the fact that you are so motivated to do something just because other people respond in a negative light. Let them be negative. Let them respond in that way. That's okay. You don't have to believe in me, but I know what God placed in my heart. I know what I am capable of. You have to start encouraging yourself, baby. Through the negativity, let me tell you something. You better start encouraging yourself. I know what I can do. I know that I'm able to do this. I know it's never been done in my family before, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to be that one that does it. I'm going to be that one who leads the way. And it doesn't matter how other people respond, baby, you just continue to go full force. It's a lot of people who always say nothing good comes from Cairo, Illinois. Like, I've heard that all of my life. Like, even as a child, I have heard that. I have heard people put my hometown down more than I've heard them build it up, more than I've heard them compliment. And it's not even just me who have done great things from my hometown. There are multiple people who have done great things from my small hometown. But I always think about, what if I would have let the negative responses of other people stop me from chasing my dreams and from going full force? What if I would have let that stop me? Then I wouldn't even be where I am today, because I would have been listening to them be so negative. I would have been listening to their responses. So I'm just trying to get you to understand that what Joyce is saying in this devotion is so true. Like, sometimes we will be so encouraged about something, but because other people don't share that same level of encouragement that we have, we will cause their feelings to now jump on us, and now we discouraged. No, baby, pick your head up. Go full force after what it is that you want to go after. That's your word. And if that's your word, you better just grab that word, okay? All right, so let's finish it. Now, this is the part in the devotion where Joyce is finna eat us up, okay? So Joyce says, managing our mouth is part of managing our emotions. Baby, tame that tongue. Taming your tongue is the best part of managing your emotions. Knowing when to talk and when to be quiet is the best part about managing your emotions. It's the most beneficial part. It's the part that's going to help you manage your emotions. You don't even have to get upset with people if you don't tell them what you got going on. Child, listen. If you don't let people in to know certain parts about you, you'll never be upset because they don't know. Because you're keeping it to yourself. People only know what you tell them. So you have control over your tongue. You have control over what comes out of your mouth. If you have noticed a trend in your life where people are always saying something about you negative, or they're always saying something, whenever you come to them with a situation, they always got something bad to say, baby, stop going to them with the situation. Stop telling them about it. Stop talking to them about it. Keep it to yourself. Manage your mouth. And then that way you don't have to be upset. That way you don't have to say, well, they just always negative towards me. You don't even have to say that because you're not opening your mouth to tell them about situations that you have going on. And that is a huge part of managing your emotions and keeping you in a space of being well. Like your mental and emotional wellness, like that is a big part of it because it keeps you on a positive note. It keeps you in a positive mindset because you don't have to think about how negative a person was towards you when you released a certain thing out your mouth. All right, so it goes on to say, it's worth keeping some things to ourselves in certain situations so we can stay peaceful and positive. Manage your mouth, homegirl. Be careful and cautious about what you allow to escape your tongue, about what you share with other people, just so you can stay peaceful. Like, it's so important. And Joyce tells us in this devotion, like, it's so very important to just manage our mouth and just watch the things that we say. We don't have to go tell everything to everybody. Some things, a lot of things, we can keep to ourselves. And baby, Lord knows that's how I live my life. I've had so many people to tell me I'm so secretive. I've had a lot of people to tell me, like, you're just so private. Like, why are you this way? And I'm a firm believer that everybody don't need to know everything. Me sitting and talking to people about my life all of the time, like, in my mind, I just be like, I don't think this is going to benefit them in any kind of way. So I don't need to share it. And it's not even just that I'm just trying to be a secretive person and, oh, you're just trying to be so private. It's just that you have to have so much wisdom, and you really got to use wisdom to know who you can share things with and who you're not supposed to share things with. You do, yes. Granted, I have people in my life that I can share things with, but I've also been burned a lot of times to where I've shared things with people and they go outside of just us and go share them with everybody else. And now everybody else sharing it with everybody else. And so this is why you have to be cautious about sharing things with certain people and about sharing just things, especially intimate moments and vulnerable things in your life. Like, you have to really be cautious about that because not everybody knows how to hold those parts about you. Like, not everybody knows how to deal with those vulnerable parts. Not everybody know how to deal with just things that you go share with them. And so you really have to know how much to share and who to share it with. Like, you don't need to be just going out here talking about every single thing to everybody. And we are going to get in there in this prayer series. So I ain't going to dive too deep in that when I tell you we're talking about all things that. And I want you to remember this episode when we get in that prayer series, because this is all going to come full circle. It's a lot of stuff you need to keep to yourself. And I'm going to just give you a little teaser. Not only keep to yourself, but just keep in the privacy of you and God. It's a lot of things. Like this devotion told us, Mary pondered on it in her heart. An angel of the Lord appeared to Mary, and Mary didn't go out and broadcast this. I'm sure she was afraid. And sometimes when we get afraid, we got to share it with somebody because, hold up, am I tripping? Or does this really sound like a little bit crazy? We want to go and share it with people, but Mary didn't do that. She dealt internally. And we need to learn how to deal internally with a lot of the things that we go through, a lot of the things that we deal with, and not share those things with people. If you feeling weak, not a lot of people can handle your weak parts. So you have to deal with them internally sometimes. Can you imagine Mary going and telling people that an angel of the Lord came to her and told her that she was about to get pregnant? Them people from the town would have told her up. No, you ain't about to get pregnant. We know what you and Joseph in that house doing. We don't want to hear that. Ain't no angel of the Lord came and told you nothing, because that's how people do. And so that's why it's so important that when God is telling you something, when God is sending a word of confirmation or a word of instruction to you, you ain't always supposed to go out and tell people. Keep it to yourself, because a lot of people won't understand it, especially if they ain't had an encounter with God for themselves, or if God ain't came and talked to them. God sent the angel of the Lord to Mary. He didn't send the angel of the Lord to Mary and all of the people that was around her. No. So what does that mean? It was private. It was a private encounter. I'm sending the angel of the Lord to you, Mary. And Mary understood the assignment. Mary understood how to keep her mouth shut. Mary understood how to deal with the instruction of the Lord within herself, within her heart. She understood the importance of that. Because sometimes if we go out and say something prematurely, people will cast judgment on us. And now it would make a good thing, a God thing, seem like it's a bad thing. My God, help us, Jesus. So sometimes we got to hush. Sometimes we have to be cautious about what it is that we say, and we have to keep things to ourselves. If you don't take anything from this episode, take this word, keep certain things to yourself. It is okay to ponder on certain things in your heart, because sometimes that's where they're meant to stay until God reveals it, how he wants to reveal it in due time. So I love y'all. That is it for this episode. I pray that you enjoyed this episode. If you did enjoy this episode, then make sure you leave me a comment down in the comment section or leave a review. Make sure you title it or put the title of this episode somewhere in that review so I can know which episode you're talking about. And I love y'all so much. Thank y'all for tuning in. Y'all know how we're going to close it out. We are going to close out this episode with the Girl Just Heal mantra. But first, we're going to take a deep breath in and out. And that is just us releasing all of the cares of today, yesterday, last month, last week, anything that's come up to hinder us. We are releasing that off of us, baby. And we are going to repeat the Girl Just Heal mantra together. So the Girl Just Heal mantra is, I accept myself for who I am. I free myself from all fear. And today, I choose to heal. I accept myself for who I am. I free myself from all fear. And today, I choose to heal. I accept myself for who I am. I free myself from all fear. And today, I choose to heal. So thank you so much for tuning in to this week's episode of the Girl Just Heal podcast. I'm your favorite homegirl, Neimoya Basden. And until we speak again, girl, just heal. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Girl Just Heal podcast. Be sure to connect with us on social media at Girl Just Heal. And if you need an extra dose of support during your healing journey, join our private Facebook community where we can continue to heal, grow, and evolve together.